Hello my brothers and sisters on the Dragon's Path. My name is Tim Heije and I believe in dragons. And I also believe in dragon gods. Sometimes when they say to me, do you believe in God? I say, sure, I believe in God. But I believe in several gods and they are all dragons. And then it's like, what? But yeah, I believe in dragons. And I also believe in dragon gods. At first I thought that my dragon, my guardian, was like my god. No one, never before, no one becomes higher than my dragon, even though there are also dragon gods, where also the dragon guardians has to listen to. Because they are the embodiment of nature, they are the embodiment of the elements. And one in particular that I want to talk to you about is Leviathan. Leviathan, god of the void, god of the dragon's gate, and god of, of water, the element of water. My main god is actually a goddess, is Tiamat, and that is because that is the first one that I encountered. It was so many years later, after I did my path. I didn't even know about the dragon gods, but there was one night that my guardian introduced actually Tiamat, and that was a totally different level of energy. That was also Tiamat is also on a different dimension, even further on, so many gates later. She is actually everything that grows here on Earth. So it's because of Tiamat that actually everything is alive. But also Leviathan. Leviathan is a god that I later encountered. But Leviathan is a totally different level than Tiamat. Tiamat is strict, chaotic, but also a loving god, a goddess. She loves her children. She loves her children very much. And that is the reason why I had her power. She belongs to my dragon circle. And also my main goddess. But Leviathan is a dragon that I also encountered on my path, but my goodness, totally different level. He's much darker, even though Tiamat is more like chaos energy, and Leviathan is more like dark energy, and this dark energy is very controversial. Let me tell you that. Leviathan can be seen, it can be actually compared when you see the Christian beliefs. Saint Peter, and he, according to the Christians, holds the key to heaven, and he decides who gets in or not. And that is actually a bit the same with Leviathan, the god of the void, and also god of the dragon's gate. He is the embodiment of the gate itself, actually, also. And he is so very strict. He's very strict in everything that we do. He also, and that is why I don't even like it, but I love Leviathan, but he's so controversial that according to many stories that he was responsible for not letting dragons in their own realms, and that means that these dragons became lost souls. And yeah, so Leviathan, yeah, controversial dragon god, but many of us have this god as the main god, and that is because they have this energy given by him, not by Tiamat, not by Fafnir, but by Quetzalcoatl, but by Leviathan. And that means that the sea serpent of the dragon god is responsible for your dragon's path, and that is a big honor that you get from him. It's not an easy life if Leviathan is the one that woke you up. That means that your mind, your life, and everything that is in your life, and your dragon soul actually is quite dark. Yes, and not bad, not evil, but dark. If Leviathan is the one that woke you up. Quetzalcoatl is the one, the wise one. It's called the wise one, the wisest actually of all the four. That is the air element. And if Quetzalcoatl is the one, then of course the wise one, the one who has compassion also. Tiamat is the loving one, but also chaos energy. And that is what I actually am. I am more like chaos energy. I have to find my own way. I have to find my own path, and I try to tell people that they have to find their own path. And so from chaos, no order. From chaos, you will know your own path and your own what you have to do. You see, Leviathan is more like, yeah, the hardest test that draconic brother or sister can have. Leviathan doesn't play around. None of the gods, of course, but Leviathan is the one that's set here and now. And this can be very, very hard. I know brothers and sisters who have been awakened by Leviathan, and most of the time, these tests that they are given to them are very, very hard. That I even have to say, wow, Leviathan, calm down. But I'm not the one who has to say this. Leviathan does that. Leviathan is also, when he was actually, it was a story that I read, that Leviathan was actually a creature that was made by God, by the Christian God, in their story, of course. But that Leviathan was so that in the beginning it was everything was fine, but later on it was like his dog, and his dog was eating too much, you see. And yeah, of course that all came later, but the real story of Leviathan is totally different, and that is that Leviathan is the embodiment of water, and water can give and water can take. Without water we die. And yeah, also seen as the dark half of God, you see, in these stories. But there is a bit of truth behind it. Leviathan is a very wise spirit, wise entity, but also very controversial. Even his counterpart is more like Fafnir. Fafnir is a fire. Fafnir is the hate and the love and a passion, you see, and that is, Leviathan is kind of the same thing, but more like darkness. Leviathan is able to let you show hell itself, and that you have to crawl out of it, and then know everything. Even though I have to do it myself, but it was more in a gentle kind of style. I mean, gentle way in hell, I know, but you have to crawl out of it, because first you have to face the darkness before you can work for the light, you see. And that is what Leviathan is all about. You have to know first, and then you can work for it. Very strict dragon god. Totally different than Tiamat was. That Tiamat felt. But Leviathan also came to me in in these early years that I was on the dragon's path. But Leviathan's energy was more like, yeah. I was even saying to myself, is this a dragon? This must be totally different. I mean, but it was draconic, definitely draconic, but it was so dark and so different than Tiamat. Actually, Tiamat and Leviathan, they cannot work together, you see. Even though they both came to me, but it was a totally different moment. It was not on the same moment. You cannot have both of them at the same time. That cannot be, because these dragons, it's water and earth, even though they cannot live without. The dragons themselves are a totally different thing. It's like, yeah, it is rivers. It's like Leviathan is feeding Tiamat. But yeah, the dragons themselves is totally different. Like, you have to know something about the four elements. The four elements, how does it create life? The four elements came here on this earth, but none of them can work together. And everything that you see here is actually a reaction. A reaction that is on accident. Everything, every life, everything is not made. It's an accident of all the four elements coming together on this earth. And everything that you see and everything that it creates is actually a reaction of 4 elements, of 4 dragons who couldn't work together. And because they work together, everything is alive. And of course for us it's great because we are the fruits of it. But in fact, every element constantly have a reaction. And that is the same with Tiamat and Leviathan coming together. Even though it are humanized, we say it's good, it's fine. That is just perfect. But the dragon gods themselves, as wise as they are, ancient, before nature was created, they cannot really become these close friends, even though the one is feeding the other. It's a bit difficult to explain about this. Leviathan, if he's the one that comes to you, and yeah, a lot of brothers and sisters are actually afraid of him, and I understand why. But you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be, because at the end you also have draconic energy. My brothers and sisters, be blessed.